mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of And I Quote, the live weekly show where we introduce you to a special guest who is joining us from any and all corners of the nerd universe. We find out a little bit more about them, and we also find out what plans they have for the future, because the future is everything. I am your host, Ryan of Nerd Culture, and joining us in the studio this week is our very special guest. He is a writer, an artist, a podcaster, and someone I would like to refer to as Mr. Calm, Cool, and Relaxed. Give it up for Ted Davies. Ted, how are you today, sir?
That was a great intro. Good. I think you're wrong, but thank you. I'm not calm, cool, and collected. I play it on YouTube, but
okay. I mean, just every time I've seen you on one of your shows, which we'll talk about momentarily, I mean, you just seem Mr. Calm, cool, and collected. You just have that chill attitude. I mean, you enjoy life, yes, but you got the cool, calm, and relaxed attitude going.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
I mean, I gotta
appreciate that.
Yeah, I gotta have a nickname for you. I mean, I refer to Brian K. Morris as the Mr. Rogers of the internet. For you,
I've got plenty of them. There's a lot of people call me Tiki Ted because I draw a ton of tikis, but I've been called worse. So I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff. I know I've been called Green Room Ted. We won't get into that. Boardroom Ted when I'm working out the deals and stuff. But yeah, I've been called a lot worse. Come up with something. We'll throw it at my publicist, see what she thinks. And then we'll go from there.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to be nice. But anyhow, we want to take this opportunity to thank you, Ted, for being with us. Now, by the way, for those of you who are watching us live, if you have any questions for our guest, Ted, today, leave it in the live chat, leave it in the comment section below. Our producers are going to be monitoring it as we go throughout the course of the show. So to start things off here, I'm just curious here a little bit, Ted, what were some of your favorite writers or books growing up?
Well, early on when I was a kid, Bram Stoker, but it was the comic book version of Dracula. Scared the crap out of me. Absolutely scared the crap out of me. But it was, that was a good thing because I was, it got me interested in stories, really got me focused and everything. And Bram Stoker was one of the first one. I grew into, like Walden, Thoreau, that type of books as we got older, Civil Disobedience. I've got to always throw that one out. Tolkien was a good one. Mark Twain was Dylan Thomas. I don't know if you guys know him. He's a Welsh poet. Dylan Thomas is really, my dad was from Wales. So everybody, it was very much into that whole, Dylan Thomas or Frank Lloyd Wright or any of these, Welsh background people I was always involved with. And one of the last ones is, I don't know if you know this name, Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu is was the writer of the Tao Te Ching, which is a Taoist philosophy book, basically. And they consider it a holy book. Some people do, but that's my thing. It's more philosophy. So, but Lao Tzu, he's the man. So, yeah. Wow. So, kind of diverse.
Yeah, those are fascinating names and stories as well. Don't get me wrong. Now, what inspired you to become a writer or artist yourself?
Oh, well, artist, I think you're kind of born into it. Art is just something my dad was an artist. He worked for Ford. He designed cars for many years. And so that was, my first taste of all of it, seeing what you could do, drawing, and then the production of something. So architecture was kind of my thing in high school. And I knew I could make a lot of money in it. That's why I went to college for architecture and that. But art and architecture were kind of my dual majors. But I've always been an artist, but writing stories has been, I want to say I was 8 years old when my first book was put together by one of my teachers. And it was a poem book of all the kids in the class. And I remember the book, I don't have it anymore, but I remember the book after it was all put together. My name was in it. And after the poem that I wrote, it was so freaking awesome. And I knew I got hooked on that. I don't think I've ever told anybody that. So that's a Ryan exclusive. I don't think I've ever told anybody that. But this poetry book was, for whatever reason, it was just my name after my work, and it was in print. and they put it in the local library. You know, it was cool. It was neat. And I think that's how I got kind of hooked on it. But, and, you know, I had to pay the bills too. Architecture was, you know, there was a lot of homes being built in the 90s. We did a lot of things in the 90s. So, but, you know, art and architecture is all the same for me. So, but comic books, always loved them. I mean, I was, you know, from the get, 6, 7 years old, I was always into comic books from the start. So, yeah, just part of the network, or, you know, of who I am, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I take it you took a few trips to your friendly neighborhood grocery store, looked at the spinner racks, picked up a few comics
You know,
yourself.
yeah, and they used to have in the kids section, they had these multi-packs, these, you know, they would throw like a bunch of reprints and stuff in them, and they're like Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, whatever, and you didn't know what you were going to get. And that was the best. That was so cool. And I still have them, which I'm surprised they survived. I'm really surprised, because it's pretty rough. You know, I'd, you know, fold them up, put them in the back pocket, walk around with them, and yeah, I still have them. I've got them right back here on one of the lists, or one of the shelves here. But yeah, yep, old school.
Oh my goodness gracious, that's awesome that you still have those comics and they've survived all this time.
Yeah, well, 40 years at least. I'm 50 now, so yeah.
I didn't want to mention it, but yeah, you most recently celebrated the big 5-0. Yeah. Cue the Hawaii 5-0 music.
Hey man, I love surfer music. It's good. I'm digging it.
Yeah, but happy big 5-0, my young friend. Good for you. You don't look at, I mean, to me, you don't look a day over 25, you know.
Oh, thank you. Well, check's in the mail, bro. Thank you. It's, you know what it is? It's good food. My wife is a killer. She's just killer, and that's it. I mean, it has everything to do with diet, and you know, that's it. Living on the beach doesn't hurt, but not in the winter it sucks. But you know, it's nice. So I'll just take it. Thank you.
No, yeah, absolutely. What would you say are some of the rewards of being a writer or artist?
Let me see. I did write this down, so just bear with me. Let me check my notes here. This is what happens when you turn 50, because you start slowly sliding.
It's okay.
You know what? I'll tell you, one of the coolest things about it is, and it's a combination thing, really, because with Christine, you know, you've got to have a good team. You really do.
Oh yeah.
And so things that her and I, we both support each other's businesses, and that's a huge thing. I couldn't do this without her. I mean, I spent 28 years in architecture before building a nice career and did all that stuff. But when there's certain types of, you know, do we really need to buy this, or can we do this instead? You know, the freedom is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
The freedom of being able to write and put out a story and then eventually get paid back on that is nice. I really like the freedom that we're able to go on YouTube and we're able to talk to other creators, and I like the freedom. I really, really love that about it. Everybody listening, I mean, it's, when it comes down to writing, it's silencing of the voices in my head, but there's such a freedom being able to do that and getting a paycheck from it. It's a huge thing when it comes down to that. It takes a while though. Don't get me wrong. It's not like you write a page and get paid. It takes a while to build up that momentum and, you know, get the checks going, but it does. Freedom is probably the main thing that I think of.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Now, on the flip side of things, what would you say are some of the challenges of being a writer or artist?
Well, I mean, critiquing is always hard. Critical, having somebody say something about your work and you're not prepared for the reaction of it, whether it's good or bad. And I want to stress this because this is something that really, I want people to take at heart if they're a new artist or they're a new writer, or even a seasoned writer for that matter. I'm a firm believer that keep your people, you know, the people in your circle are great. Make sure that you've got a good circle of people, very positive, but understand though, when I say this, that not everybody in your circle is in your corner. So I mean that in a good way. And it's not, I've learned this through my course of life. It's not anybody in my group now, in Ted's tribe or anything, but I've seen that can be some of the most supportive people don't know you, and some of the most people that want to tear you down sometimes do know you. So you have to be really aware of that. Be very self-aware around the people that are in your circle, because not all of them are in your corner. And I don't mean that to set people off on edge or anything else in their groups, but I think that you really have to be careful with that. And that's what that's what I don't like about, I made a joke about this on one podcast, that being an artist is like, you're the only guy with the pickup truck and everybody's got to move. And the analogy is, hey, I need a sign done. Hey, can you do a logo for me? Hey, can you, do the cover for me? Not everybody wants to pay you, or not everybody can pay you. And that's something you got to keep in mind. You're running a business, so you got to, so that's maybe that's all of it in a nutshell. So business, keep your circle tight, make sure everybody that's in that circle is not, backstabbing you one way or the other, and be good to people. But yeah, that's the one thing I would definitely say is business is not always fun as an artist or as a writer. There's a lot of gray area there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's some very good points. No, you kind of already segue into my next question, which was any more tips you would have for aspiring writers or artists. So there you go.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not a bad thing. Just be aware. Just be self-aware and make sure that you know who's around you and who has your better interests. You're gonna have to trust somebody. You know that. So just make sure that you make sure it's the right person or the right people.
No, for sure. Yeah. Now, have there been any special memories of yours from being at conventions or other events, whether you're, selling your books, selling your art, or, just as an attendee?
Yeah, as an attendee, actually. I probably about 10 years ago, I worked with a group called Dan's Dream. And Dan's Dream is, my buddy Dan he suffers from MS, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's MS. And he has one of the largest private collections of comic book art in the country. So he's had George Perret. I mean, all these artists give him art to put in a gallery so that we could raise money to get comic books to help kids that are having trouble reading, teach them how to read. Simple idea. So what we do is at the time we set up this huge gallery at like Motor City Comic Con, and people would pay raffle to get into some of these prints of one of these drawings that they were in these beautiful galleries. So Dan's Dream was awesome. And it's kind of a selfish reason for this. I'll segue into this, but when I did that, when I could go and volunteer in that time, we got into the show for free. So I got to do a few things while I was there, and I got to get into the green room, not the green room that Uncle Carl has, but there's a green room at these different conventions that because you're a volunteer, you get to go. I mean, I'm sat and had a cup of coffee with Ralph Macchio, and I've had all kinds of things like that. Billy Boyd Pippin from Lord of the Rings, I sat with him for a while. Lance Henderson, all these people that I've met over the years. And I've literally just sat across the table from him and we just talked, got pictures, whatever. Really cool. It was such a really unique experience. Mickey from the Monkees, he was super. He was terrific. He was such a kind person. That was really, really cool. Who's it? Patrick Stewart, Terminator. That right? Not Patrick Stewart.
You mean Robert Patrick?
Robert Patrick. Thank you. He was cool. He was really freaking cool.
The T-1000.
Yeah,
prototype, cool. Liquid metal. Yeah, I met him at a convention last year, the year before. I met him at Monster Mania here in my neck of the woods of Hunt Valley, Maryland. There you go.
I hope he had a good experience because he was a really good guy.
Yeah, he was a cool dude. He was a cool dude. I talked a little bit for a while, and we got a picture. I got a picture with him and everything. Nice dude.
Yeah, I think that's so when you get to see the peer, you never thought you'd ever see them, and then you see some of them that are just completely. God, I won't watch another movie of yours ever again. You self-righteous, and not all of them are like that. Most of them are, and a lot of them have a lot of stress on them too. I get that. A lot of them, they can't even use the restroom without being bombarded.
Yeah.
That was really cool though. Really to be involved with that. And then helping out kids too, that were having, they had learning disabilities or whatever, just help them out. They got excited about reading because they saw the books. It was a different way of learning to read. And that was a really cool experience out of all of it. And then we get to, that's what I said. I think that was a pretty, I don't think it get any better than that. I mean, I like selling books and everything else, doing my artwork at conventions, but this was well before I did any of that. Mm-hmm. And it was so much fun just to be part of that. So
you met Daniel LaRusso from Reseda. That is,
and we were just talking about that. We were just talking about this because we're watching it on YouTube. I don't know if you guys watch Grim Life Collective. You should. It's a really good show. And he does basically, he'll go around and he'll show the different movie sites, like where they shot the movies and everything. And Chris and I were just talking about it. I said, I met Ralph Macchio that one back in 2000, whatever was 17 or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, she said, didn't he sit with you because you didn't take a picture? I'm like, yeah. So we sat and had a cup of coffee. I said, I'm not going to take a picture or anything. I said, just, I just want to meet you. I want to thank you. I said, it was really cool growing up watching your movies. It was neat, as a kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's cool. And he sat down with me and he looked completely super tired. I mean, he would look like, he says, I just got in from a flight midnight. It was like, I left New York. He was doing a movie or something at the time.
Right.
And, he was just sat and talked. It was just nice. It was just really, really cool. And you look back on all these things. It's like, wow, these people wait in line to meet these people and take pictures. And it's, pretty rewarding. It's a pretty special thing. So,
my goodness gracious, you met Daniel-san. Daniel-san.
That's it. I didn't do that to him because people were doing that to him all like the last 2 days. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm sure it was just, you could just see it.
I'll do my best not to do it when I actually meet him at a convention when Earth fully reopens and conventions are back in the it factor again, because he was at a convention I was at a few years ago. And this is before, this was during the height. Well, I mean, it still is.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of Cobra Kai. So I'm sorry to the fans of the Karate Kid, but I've seen the movies.
I haven't either.
By the way, I've seen all four, not just the trilogy, but I've seen the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank. Okay.
Wow.
So really? I've seen all five, including the reboot that never really happened.
You're never going to get
all
that,
due respect to
those 2
Jackie
hours
Chan.
back, man.
With all due respect to Jackie Chan, the reboot. Now that I've watched the original to compare it to the remake, I'm like, yeah, there's a reason why certain movies never should be remade or rebooted in any way, shape, or form. But then again, Karate Kid just got rebooted successfully with Cobra Kai, and I haven't even seen it yet, but I've heard people talk about it nonstop. The Funko Pops sell like hotcakes.
Yeah,
the action figures are back in full swing.
They were all together everywhere. at Michigan Comic-Con, the last one that we were at. They were all together before any of this was taped. Any of the movies were or any of the shows were done.
Yeah, Cobra Kai.
And they were getting it all set up. You could tell they were all sitting together. They were all, so whatever was going on behind the scenes, it was cool. I mean, they were real nice guys. One of the coolest people I ever met was Jason Momoa.
He was Aquaman.
He was so, and this is before Aquaman. He was so cool. He was such a good guy. He sat down literally had some Michigan craft beers, sat down with us in a powwow style and talked to us.
Get out of here.
On the carpet at the hotel. We were just kind of hanging out, and that was it. It was so cool. So check this out, and Chris is going to kill me for saying this. She and a few of the girls and everything were getting hungry, so they went out to Taco Bell when all this went down. So she left, and then Jason Momoa walks up. Hey, what's up? So we all sat down, and they got back like 2 hours later or whatever, 3 hours later after they're doing shopping and whatever. And Jason, all of us were having a big yeah, they missed out on all of it. So, yeah. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. He was a very, very nice person. So
Arthur Curry. I hear you can talk to fish.
That's a good film. I'm not a big DC fan. I like Batman and that, but that was a good film.
Well, I mean, if I ever get the chance to meet Momoa myself, I'll probably freak the heck out because I really like him as Arthur Curry / Aquaman. And yes, I do like the Aquaman solo movie because I feel, for me personally, it's one of the better films within the whatever's left. There's really nothing left of it now, but of the DC cinematic universe, that's what it's really called. DC, get it right. I mean, Aquaman to me is my second favorite solo film. Behind Man of Steel? Yeah,
I mean, even the way that the hair under the water. You know what I mean? It's
unbelievable, Wan, man.
The technology was just, is just unbelievable.
It's insane.
Unbelievable. So, yeah.
Great cast, too.
Yeah, they had a good cast. It was good.
Goodness gracious. Looking forward to Aquaman 2 whenever that comes out. Jason, we're rooting for you, buddy. We're rooting for you.
No doubt.
Can't wait for Aquaman 2 because I love Aquaman 1. I mean, seriously, when you hear that rock, what is it? Guitar riff in the very beginning of the movie, he dives down to that submarine, he's like, permission to come aboard.
Killed that.
And I'm like, what is going on? This guy is jacked, and he can layeth the smackdown on anyone's candy, you know what? And it's just, I can watch him beating the smack out of somebody for 2 hours and not get bored. It's almost like saying, well, I can watch James Spader reading out of a phone book on the Blacklist for 2 hours and not get bored.
Jason Momoa likes some Michigan craft beer. That's all I'm saying.
Does he?
It was good times. He was shooting Frontier at that time, I think.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Anyway,
that was that FX series, right?
I think
Or was that
so, yeah.
Amazon?
No,
it
it's on
Amazon?
Netflix. It's on Netflix. I
Oh,
think.
Netflix. Excuse me. I was thinking
But,
of the wrong streaming service. My bad.
But it was good though. Anyway, he's like I said, super guy. I really liked him. I'm sure that he's got his days, but that day was very, very nice.
Well, you just made me 1,000% more jealous of you. So
No, not at all.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, no. The jealousy.
I'm not
of me to
saying
you
it
has
to
just gone up
brag.
above
I'm saying
9,000.
it that was my experience. So that's all.
No, it's fair. And congratulations on those experiences. I hope to have some, somewhat similar experiences when I meet certain celebrities when I eventually start going back to conventions, respectively.
Sure.
And I just used a lot of big words in one sentence. My English teachers would be very impressed with how I'm handling myself verbally. So I'm just curious, since you just celebrated the big 5-0, you still look like you don't look a day over 25. I'm just curious. Have you seen the trailer that's coming out for this upcoming series on Netflix called Masters of the Universe Revelation? And if so, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. I haven't really spent much time looking at it. It passed by, on the
Facebook
crossover
feed.
Yeah, I think because he was probably, why are we watching? Why are we doing that? So keep going. So I think it's going to be good. What do you think? More importantly, what do you think? And then I'll go on. Because I'm going to tell you.
That's fair. No, well, for someone who's still a bit young and hasn't really, and with all due respect to all the fans of Masters of the Universe, that was before my time.
Yeah.
So this to me is new. Even though I know what the property is, I don't really know what it is because I never watched the original series growing up. I don't have any of the toys, but I hear that the toy market is insane for this property.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I watched this trailer the other day for the third or fourth time because I'm just curious because this is a very popular property. I want to know more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there watching this trailer and you got the classic Bonnie Tyler holding out for a hero in the background. And I'm thinking, I love the music. I like where this is going. And this character saying, by the power of grace, I have the power. Yep. I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I wish I could have been a fly on the wall in the 80s when this was a big, big deal because this property looks like a lot of fun and something that I want to actually watch. So for me personally, Ted, if this thing were premiere tomorrow, even though it's going to premiere later on in the month of July on Netflix, respectively, I am going to watch this because after watching the trailer and seeing a little bit of what the mythology is, I like fantasy adventure. And granted, I grew up on films like Neverending Story. So for me to see something like this with a guy holding a giant sword, laying the smackdown on the forces of evil, aka we're looking at you, Skeletor, who is voiced by Mark Hamill in this iteration.
Which is great. Mark's such a talent anyway. He's such a talent.
The guy can play the hero of the galaxy for 4 decades. Yeah. And he can also play the most evil, sadistic, crazy son of a gun as Joker, the arch nemesis of Iron Batman.
Yeah. He's the best.
It's amazing to me. So for me personally, Ted, I'm looking forward to this. Anything you want to share on this?
So, so growing up in the 80s,
great decade.
It was a great decade.
From what I've been told, even though I was born at the tail end of it. Sorry.
That's all good. So the cartoon, it was interesting the way the animation was done because they did a lot of overlay stuff with the way that the movements were of the figures. And it was really, that was for me, that's what I was looking at, like how to draw it, how to break it down analytically, really break it down into animation pages. That's how ridiculous I was watching it. But the marketing side of it, like Battle Cat, he had all these different, Grayskull's castle. I did a Skeletor for Brian K. Morris. It's on his wall behind him. When he does in his show, you'll see it right behind him.
That was you?
Yep.
Wow.
So, but I love Skeletor. I love that whole, He-Man was a little, I don't know. There was a lot of undertones that you see it now, it's like, wow, it was in it. But as a kid, you wouldn't think anything about it, but it was very, but some of the things were just it was almost a little off, but it was still entertaining nonetheless. But the marketing side of it, I remember the He-Man action figure had the sword, it had the shield, it had this
armor.
Almost, it was like I don't know. It almost was like a Marquis de Sade designed breastplate thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. And they had a loincloth. It's okay. It's a little barbarian,
Conan the Barbarian, maybe?
Yeah. Right. It looked a lot like that. And and it was overly ripped. He was overly,
he was jacked.
No. He was like roided out. It was like there wasn't jacked. It was like he was like, he couldn't even move his arm. It was pretty, right. But all the marketing side of it, though, all the different characters, Yeah, it was cool. It was really, really cool. And you wanted, you couldn't find Battle Cat when I was a kid. You had all, they had all these others, you give Grayskull, that thing's worth a fortune now. That toy, the Grayskull
really?
Castle. Oh man.
Couple thousand?
I would think, at least. If it had the box, I think it would be, and all the parts in it. But
I'm
yeah, I mean,
curious.
it was really, I thought it was an interesting, like Orko. Orko was great.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I'm probably going to draw one of those for Brian eventually, but it's, I don't know. It's a good property. I don't know if I'm going to be entertained by it though, because I've lived through it already. I don't know.
I mean, it is showrun by Kevin Smith, probably the biggest nerd on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, I love Kevin. I think he cries too much, but that's him. I love him though. I think he's brilliant. I think he's brilliant. So, yeah. Anyway.
So bottom line is, I may not buy the VIP, first class ticket for opening day, but if it comes on my screen when me and the missus are sitting around,
yeah,
we're like,
and it might.
We need
it might
something to do. Let's just click on Netflix and relive our childhood.
I would
40
love for
years
them
ago.
to bring Thundercats back, really bring it back, because that was something I know Christine would watch with me. I think that would be a lot of fun. That would be cool.
If I'm thinking of this correctly, one of the main characters on the Thundercats is Lion-O.
Yeah.
Lion-O.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you would think they'd get a little bit better names on that.
Lion-O.
But still badass.
Different names of the cats.
Can we say, I'm sorry, can we say that word? I didn't mean to.
No, it's cool. No, you're cool. Yeah, we try to keep it, for the most part, we try to keep it family friendly on these airwaves, but if you want to drop a curse word here and there, it's fine. We're not upset. We here at Nerd Culture, we help people embrace the nerd within themselves. So they want to express themselves a bit of a different way verbally. As one character actor once said, I'll allow it. It's fine. But anyhow, yeah, you got Thundercats. I did a comparison. I was watching the intro to the original He-Man Masters of the Universe TV series, and then I watched the intro to Mask, Mobile Armored Strike Command, because I did an interview with Doug Stone, the voice of Matt Tracker himself.
Oh, yeah. Mask was so cool, dude. When I was a kid, that idea was so cool.
Yeah, I watched the intro last night, and I'm thinking, well, if I had to compare and contrast between the two properties, respectively, I think Mask has a much better theme song than He-Man Masters. Oh, yeah. The original one, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you.
Just saying. I was watching a little bit of Mask last night. So there you go. I'm trying to, I was born at the tail end of that decade. So I'm trying to go back and trying to realize why some of these properties were such a big deal for the respective audiences. And I'm starting to realize Mask looks pretty darn cool. And He-Man is cool too. But if I had to pick one or the other to watch first, I would probably binge watch a little bit more of Mask before I would go back to He-Man Masters of the Universe. But that's just me.
He-Man was just a little bit too theatrical is what I felt. It kind of like,
Plus the
him
theme
yelling,
song didn't
I got
really
the power of Grayskull, all that.
And the theme song for the original property didn't really make me feel jazz as much as I was listening to the Mask theme song. It's like Mask is, it's cool. It's got a vibe to it. Yeah,
and there's kind of like everybody's different in it. There's all different kinds of things. You got different it was just cool.
There's a mask fighting crime. Like you just hear that tune and you're thinking, I can dance. I'm not
going to get that out of my head now. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And for those of you who are wondering, MASK stands for Mobile Armored Strike Command. For those of you who are trying to keep up with the millions of acronyms at home.
Right. It was. I enjoyed that one a lot. I really like Voltron. I thought Voltron was awesome growing up as a kid. That was so wicked.
That's another property I got to go back and check out because I hear lots of things about Voltron.
Yeah, Voltron is really good. Anybody else in the comments, man? Let us
know.
Yeah, because Voltron used to rock.
Anyway,
I've heard Transformers, old school Transformers.
G1 Transformers.
Yes.
I've heard good things. I got to go back and watch it. Plus, I've never seen the original Transformers, the movie, even though I already know the spoiler.
You're kidding.
No, I've never seen the original. Brian Wensloff, and Brian, I hope you're watching this, a.k.a. Brian of Reels and Heels, which you can find right here on HWWS Web TV. Brian, if you're watching this, where's my Transformers the movie steelbook that you promised me? Where is the steelbook, Brian? Seriously, you said you were going to buy me all these wonderful things that are from the 80s so that you can help continue my education of pop culture. But Brian, I haven't gotten any packages in the mail that have your name on them. Come on, bro.
I don't have anything to say about Brian Badley because I ended up winning something on his show. So.
Oh, you won one of his Funko Pop giveaways?
No, I won one of them free movies.
Oh, free! Oh, you mean the digital copies?
Yeah.
Good on you, man. Hey, you know what? The more movies, the merrier. And congratulations to you, Ted. No, I'm not gonna. I'm not. I may be throwing Brian Wentzoff under the bus right now, but Brian, it's only because we.
Brian's cool. Yeah.
It's only because we like you, Brian.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's why we do this every single.
His wife's from Michigan, so.
Oh,
bam.
Nicole's from Michigan. Yep. That's right. I almost forgot about that. My bad.
Not too far from here. So.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep.
You know what they say? Small world after all.
It is.
It really is. It's one of those things. But anyhow, if you have any questions for our wonderful guest, Ted Davies of Ted Davies Artistry here today, leave it in the chat, leave it in the comments. A bunch of you are chiming in with telling us hi, how you doing, all that jazz. Carlene's in here. Willow Schuyler's here. Carl, good to see you. Carl Witzman. If you caught that pop culture reference from the 90s, you know what I'm talking about. Good on you, Carl. Terry MacGyver, the hardest working man in all the world. Terry MacGyver, you're the man. Thank you for being with us. Now, Ted, we're going to step away from the beaten path here. I'm just curious.
Sure.
How much would someone have to pay you to eat a live spider?
Am I awake?
Yeah.
Am I impaired in any way?
No. You are 100%
Sober?
coherent in this matter.
Sober. How big's a spider? What kind of spider is it? First off, lethal.
Any spider. It just says general in my show notes. A general spider.
And it's dead or is it live?
No, the question is, how much would it take for someone to pay you to eat a live spider?
Oh, live. I'm sorry, live. Is it a mama spider? It's got a bunch of eggs in her. There going to be other spiders in it, or is it just going to be?
You are allowed to use your imagination as you will.
Okay.
So
is it dipped in chocolate at all? No.
Nope.
Can I dip it in chocolate?
It's a regular spider, live spider, straight up, no chocolate, no toppings, no nothing.
I'd say probably $5,000.
That's a nice even number right there.
$5,000.
You know, is that how much the Castle of Grayskull is worth these days?
I don't know.
If anyone knows that, leave it in the chat because I'm very curious about this Masters of the Universe property that everyone's talking about.
Yeah,
because of the most recent trailer, mind you.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing that up. So $5,000. That's a nice round number. Your check's in the mail. Anywho, what's your worst roommate or house guest story, Ted?
That wasn't on the list.
I'm just having fun here.
Okay, so
I know you may not be used to this, but
no, it's good. I just don't. We can't name names.
Okay.
We had he's like a brother to me. And had him up here a couple years ago. And Christine and everybody knows the story. I have all my buddies that know me know the story. Came up, and since we live on a lake and everything, you know, Great Lake, you go swimming and all this stuff. And so I'm very like when you stay at people's homes, I always like grab the sheets off the bed. You know, I fold everything up and put it in the washer for them, whatever, when I'm staying at somebody's house, right? You know, that's being a cordial guest. Thank you, for letting me stay here or whatever. This particular friend of mine threw his underwear in our hamper or on the I think it was in the hamper on the floor in the bathroom. And it wasn't just one day, it was like 3 or 4 days. And it was like, well, okay. And Chris said to me, she says, when did you get those? Did you get new underwear? I'm like, no. And she's like, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Still love the guy. Still love him.
All good.
And do anything for the guy, no problem. But it was
no worries. And some of these questions that I'm asking you that may not be exactly in your respective show notes. This show is powered by Pod Deck. So the questions I'm asking you are from our good friends at Pod Deck. So I'm just tossing that out there. We're just trying to have fun, Ted. I hope fun is all right with you.
No, I feel bad for that's okay.
It's all good. I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. I'm just trying to have fun here. That's what we do on this program every single week.
No. Trust me. There's a lot of people that can make me feel uncomfortable. You're not one of them, so don't worry about it.
Well, that's fair. This question's a bit easier for you then. Would you rather have unlimited sushi for the remainder of your life or unlimited tacos for the remainder of your life?
Sushi.
Really?
Oh yeah. Wasabi baby. Yep. Wasabi baby. Yep. No
really?
Doubt.
Wow.
Yep. Salmon or maybe smoked eel or oh yeah. Forget about it. Yep. It's good. Good stuff.
Big seafood fan of your family. Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I love tacos, but sushi, definitely. And I think because we can't really get it up, we can't get it here. Because it's like, we're up north and it's like the sushi, it's like Kroger sushi or something. It's not very good. So we have to go, a couple hours away to get really good sushi. But anyway, not that Kroger sushi is bad. It's just different.
Nice. It's fair to say that's no problem at all. Now when conventions get back, some conventions are going back. Some conventions are getting, back on the map, and other things are starting to come back into the normal period. And, the slowly but surely Earth is starting to reopen is what I'm trying to get at here. But when you start going back to conventions, is there anyone you hope to meet or work with when you go to a convention?
That's a good
in
question.
The future?
Yeah. I'd like to see, I want to meet Mike Mignola. I mean, really want to meet, like, sit and talk with him. I'd like to meet
Hellboy creator, I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying
If
to keep
anybody
track
knows
of all
anything
the names
about me,
here.
I just love anything that deals with Hellboy or the BPRD or anything. I'd like to meet, but I'd like to find out about because Christine, his wife, is really the brains behind the operation of how it all comes into play with marketing and merchandising. And I'd really would like to find out how the team works, how it works to where they've become so profitable. They've become, really the ideas and how it's worked. Signing contracts. I know I learned one thing from them watching a podcast, that when a book is optioned and the person that's optioning the book says, "Hey, this deal is so good, you don't need an attorney," the first thing they went and did is got an attorney. So that was, and from that point on, I think that they're probably pretty good business people. But anyway, yeah, that's who I would like to meet. I don't know if I want to work with them necessarily, but I've met a lot of really good people like George Perez. I really, really like George a lot. He was so cordial, such a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people that I would love to have learned from drawing, just to spend some time with them. But as far as right now, I'm feeling really good with everybody I'm meeting right now and who we're connecting with. And I think that we kind of meet, people for reasons. I mean, we attract our tribe, so to speak, but as we get further into, hopefully in the Comic-Cons and that, I would really like to meet Mike. And I mean, I'd like to maybe, Frank Miller has always been I just want to pick his brain a bit. I don't, maybe that's dangerous, but I think Frank's, he's got some interesting artwork I've always appreciated. Bill Sakevich, Bill is, I think I would really, really like to sit down and talk about, like, actually the materials that he's using on the artwork, and really just see how he makes it fall together. So yeah, those are ones I would probably sit down with. But as far as working with everybody right now, I'm really feeling good about what I'm doing, what I'm producing right now. And I don't really have anybody I really want to work with yet that's outside of my group, indie creators. So
sure. Yeah.
Right now.
And speaking of all the wonderful people you've met along the way, how did you become part of the Rising Tide Broadcasting Network? How did that come about?
Oh, that was a dare. No, I'm kidding.
There was a game you played called Truth or Dare, and it was given to you on a dare. Get out of here.
We were all sitting around online, and
we were all sitting around the campfire one night.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the laptop fire, and we were talking about
sure.
We I don't know if it was in the green room. I think it might have been some. It was most of the group that were affiliated with anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all saying to Brian, I'm like, why don't we just start up our own network? Brian came up with the idea anyway. I'm like, let's do it. Why just connect all the dots? All of us have followings. Let's just bring them in as one collective. It makes a lot of sense. Kind of Borg it out, And he said, yeah. And so that was it. It was basically literally a handshake, and that was it. So, but that's I think that's really sometimes how the best things work out. There wasn't any like long-term, contract deal or anything like that with Brian. It was more, hey, want to? Want to? Yeah, okay, let's do it. So yeah, that was basically it, and everybody was on board. Everybody, it wasn't. I mean, there was some vetting that happened. We had to, there were some certain things that, we wanted to make sure we mandated. There wasn't certain things we didn't want on there. And it was something we want to make sure Brian's name isn't tarnished in any way, because he's such a good guy. So yeah, but Rising Tide Broadcast Network is a group of creatives helping creatives build their business. It's a dynamite format, So very proud of it.
And what shows do you host or produce on the Rising Tide Broadcasting Network? And if so, can you give us a description of each show?
Sure. TED Talks is basically that. It's an interview show. It talks basically, it's not about what people are selling. It's about what people have to say. So there's enough Kickstarter shows on there, and that's good. There's a great format for that. I bring on a few guests that have some Kickstarters going, but it's more of a byproduct of who they are. I really wanted to find out with TED Talks what about the creatives. I wanted to show people, maybe they had a hard time in life, or maybe they had a newspaper route when they were kids, or maybe they, I wanted to show people the differences. And you know what? You're just like them. There's something that might resonate with you that you can, if they can achieve greatness, why couldn't you? Because that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the nuts and bolts of it all. That is a bad terminology, but you know what I'm saying. So, but that's basically TED Talks. So it's set up to be a very candid interview with all different types of creatives, all different walks of life, and it's not just about comic books either. So it's about prose books. It's about music. There's a lot of different things with TED Talks. And then we have TED Talks Timepieces, which is basically me nerding out about watches that I like and what my collection and what I do. It's a very 15 to 20 minute breakdown of what I've got for the week, and show my watches off, and this is what this does, and this is why this is, and who manufactured it. Just me being a geek. That's fun though for me. That's TED Talks Timepieces. And then Friday I have Drinking with the Davies every week, and that's a mixology show. We bring back a bunch of retro drinks, not to get smashed on, but just to show people a little bit of culture, right? So what's cool about it is it's nice because my wife's involved, and Chris is really just awesome. She's becoming this great broadcaster. I knew she was like that anyway. But she knows a lot of different things about herbs and everything else that she's went to school for. And she's got it down to where it's a healthier way to do mixology drinks. And it's not, like I said, it's not for people that are underage. It's not for, but it's just a very fun way to start the weekend, maybe have a drink. And then, if you're of age, and then once a month, Carl and I, Carl Witzman, who's on the call right now, we do a Ted and Carl cigar show, which basically is a hobby for us. Carl, I think Carl and Donna both smoke cigars, his wife, and we, I think they smoke more than I do, but I enjoy probably a good cigar. My. Yeah. They're smoking. Smoking couple. And but I usually
I understood what you did there.
Yeah. I'm usually I'm probably about maybe 2 to 4 cigars a month. Carl, Ted likes to collect old books too. Yeah. I do. I have my libraries full of antiquated books, but the cigars though, it's more so, it doesn't matter if you smoke or not. It's just to show you the hobby and what the nuances are. So you could walk into a cigar store after COVID and everything's done, and you don't feel stupid. You don't feel like you're out of place if you wanted to have a cigar. And that's what we wanted to show people. There's so many nuances. There's so many different things about it. And you don't have to be a snob. You can buy a good cigar for $4 and enjoy it. And what you want to do with it, don't inhale. And there's a lot of things that we teach people so that they're not, it's not a bad experience for them. So, and if they want to partake in that. So, yeah. And then we're starting out, Glenn B. Fleming and I are going to be, we're announcing it first on Brian's show last week, but we'll do it second here. So Glenn B. Fleming and I are starting a show called The Truth Mongers. And it's a conspiracy theory analyzing show, basically. And we poke fun at a few things. And then we look at seriously what some of these concerns are with where our world is, what we were told, what we believe. And, so it's a lot of different fun. There'll be different topics every show, every week. And that's going to be starting in July. We haven't gotten exactly what dates yet. I think it's going to be on a Wednesday evening basis. I think we're going to do that. So, yeah, so that's going to be fun. So we got a lot going on right now. We have a lot going on.
And I was going to say, you have a lot of moving parts going on right now. You have a lot of irons in the fire, and I respect that about you. I respect that about anybody who's trying to put out content respectfully. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Ted. We're going to get to a few comments here real quick. Sure. Some of these are just too funny not to share. Everyone's saying good morning, how are you, things of that nature. But let me see if I can find some of the funnier ones. Let's see. Carl, in regards to advice for aspiring writers and artists, he says, some folks just want everything for free. Carl says in regards to your price about what would it take for you to eat a live spider, you said $5,000. Carl says, Ted sold out cheap. Yuck. Get out of here, Ted. Yeah. No, Carl,
you can do a lot with $5,000. If you use $5,000 wisely, you could grow that money very easily.
You very well could. I'm not going to lie. And Carl goes on to say, well, Ted likes to collect old books too, Yeah. Why am I not? I mean, I'm looking at your screen right now, Ted, and I can see a boatload of books behind you. So I'm not.
Yeah, they know.
Who am I to doubt? I'm just saying. And Carl says, yeah, I'm chillaxing. I'm smoking a cigar right now.
Yeah, right in his library. Yeah, he rubs that in. I can't smoke in the house, so I have to.
No, you can't.
I can't.
No, you
It's
can't.
been kind of the ongoing joke.
Anyway. Has it now.
Yes.
Has it now.
Yep.
Well, we want to take this opportunity to thank Ted Davies for being on our show this week for And I Quote. Ted, where can everyone find you on the interwebs and everything you have coming up?
Anywhere Ted Davies Artistry is, teddaviesartistry.com, Ted Davies Artistry, Instagram, Facebook. Let's see what else we've got. YouTube channel. Follow me on Ted Davies Artistry. We've got all kinds of shows. It's a lot of fun. So anywhere Ted Davies Artistry is, check it out. It's a blast.
Simple, sweet, to the point. And by the way, the links are in the description of this video, so make sure you check out teddaviesartistry.com and all the projects he has coming down the line. My name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. You can find me and everything that we're doing here on all forms of social media simply at It's Nerd Culture. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel where you're watching this right now. We are close. We are this close to 600 subscribers, and we cannot do this without you. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. And also check out my podcast. It's called The Nerdcast. It's an audio podcast where you can find on Anchor and all your favorite podcasting apps, where I talk about some of the latest movies I've had a chance to see. The episode that just went up this past week, I talked about some of the installments of the Star Trek franchise. Live long and prosper.
Sweet.
So definitely check it out. You're not going to want to miss it. And by the way, if you're wondering where all those crazy, wild, and wacky questions about what would it take for Ted to eat a live spider, or what's the worst roommate or house guest story you've ever had in your life, this episode of And I Quote and every episode of And I Quote is powered by Poddex. Poddex are the hottest new tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or gamify their podcast. Simply shuffle them up, ask a question, let the content roll. Get yours today at poddex.com, and be sure to use the promo code NERDCULTURE to get 10% off your order. You're not going to miss it. In the meantime, to all of you out there, once again, thank you, Ted, for being with us. And to all of you, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe, and read comics. Take care, everyone.
Welcome, Glasscock Park, to this glorious day.
Today is your lucky day. We got some great stuff. This is Glasscock Park.
Marvelous.
Thank you.
Come on, let's go. I don't have all day, people.
Now, it's time.
Tell your friends, huh?
I'm GW Pomacher.
I'm Dina Marie.
I'm Sage Ia.
I'm Thomas Carter Rochester.
Hey, I'm David Thompson.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Mia.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Hey there, this is Dave Adams.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Rose.
Jerome Conner here.
Hey guys, it's Josh Bauer.
Willow Schuyler.
I'm Cosplay Michael.
It's your boy Country.
I'm Ryan Permison.
And I'd like to ask you guys,
Please subscribe.
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 Subscribe.
Please subscribe to HWWS.
Web TV.
Great bunch of people.
And don't forget to smash the bell.
Ring that bell.
Smash that bell.
Hit that bell.
Hit the bell to be notified.
Hit the bell to get notified of new shows.
And videos.
You're going to want to do that, so do that soon. So we can cross that 20,000 mark.
And get us to 100,000 subscribers.
To 1 million, and 10 million, and 100 million.
On HWWS.
Web TV.
You really like it. I guarantee it. Thank you.